Crystals?
Now we're actually getting into the doctrine. You ready?
Let's go.
They worshiped the one true God as light. They worshiped the light. They were like the sons of the light. They had ritual initiations, plus obviously secrecy surrounding the sacred angels, rites, and texts. That was written in Josephus' War of the Jews 2. They very carefully guarded the name of their holy angels and all of it. They did not divulge the mysteries to outsiders. They just ate with them, gave them clothes and food and medicine if they were sick and poor, and they would laugh with strangers and treat them like family, but they wouldn't reveal the mysteries. They had to earn it.
Yeah.
But now, this is from the text, War of the Jews 2. But now, if anyone hath a mind to come over to their sect, he is not immediately admitted, but he is prescribed the same method of living which they use for a year, while he continues excluded. And they give him a small hatchet and the forementioned girdle and the white garment. They only wore white garments because it was pure. And when he hath given evidence during that time, he can observe their continence. He approaches nearer to their way of living and is made a partaker of the waters of purification. Yet he is not even now admitted to live with them. For after this demonstration of his fortitude, his temper is tried 2 more years. And if he appears to be worthy, then they admit him into their society. And before he is allowed to touch their common food, he is obliged to take tremendous oaths that in the first place he will exercise piety towards God, and that he will observe justice towards men, and that he will do no harm to anyone, either of his own accord or by the command of others, that he will always hate the wicked and be the assistant to the righteous. He will ever show fidelity, like loyalty, to all men, and especially to those in authority, because no one obtains the government without God's assistance. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. And that if he be in authority, he will at no time whatever abuse his authority, nor endeavor to outshine his subjects, either in his garments or any other finery, and that he will perpetually be a lover of truth, and propose to himself to reprove those that tell lies, that he will keep his hands clear from theft, his soul from unlawful gains. He will never conceal anything from those of his own sect, nor discovery of their doctrines to others. Like, you don't reveal the mystery.
Sure, yeah.
No, not through, though anyone should compel him to do so at the hazard of his life. Moreover, he swears to communicate their doctrines to no one otherwise than as he received them himself, that he will abstain from robbery and will equally preserve the books belonging to their sect. I want to know what these books are.
I
want these books.
Dude.
He will preserve the books belonging to their sect and the names of the angels or messengers. These are the oaths by which they secure their proselytes to themselves. They teach an ancient esoteric and symbolic allegory. I think I already read this one, though. And these explanations of the sacred scriptures. Okay, here we go. This right here. Again, it's another part written 2,000 years ago. Okay? He says, and these explanations of the sacred scriptures are delivered by mystic expressions and allegories. For the whole of the law appears to these men to resemble a living animal, and its express commandments seem to be the body, and the invisible meaning concealed under and lying beneath the plain words resembles the soul, in which the rational soul begins most excellently to contemplate what belongs to itself, as in a mirror, beholding in these very words the exceeding beauty of the sentiments and unfolding of the explaining of the symbols, and bringing the secret meaning naked to the light to all who are able by the light of a slight intimation to perceive what is unseen by what is visible. So they had layers of secrecy regarding their doctrine.
Wow, man. You don't hear people speak this eloquently on spirituality.
This was
today.
2,000 years ago.
I'm just impressed with the eloquence, because the way that this is being phrased, it's hitting. I don't even have to think about it.
It's right there.
It's going into my brain and immediately being absorbed. That's so eloquent.
Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed now because I want to read these books.
Yeah, what are these books? I want their books.
Wow, that is really blowing my mind.
Continuing the next line, when therefore the president appears to have spoken at sufficient length and to have carried out his intentions adequately, so that his explanation has gone on felicitously and fluently through his own acuteness, and the hearing of the others has been profitable, applause arises from all of them, as men rejoicing together at what they have seen and heard. And someone rising up sings a hymn which has been made in honor of God, either such as he has composed himself or some ancient one of some old poet, for they have left behind them many poems and songs and trimeter iambics, whatever that is, and in psalms of thanksgiving.
Iambic is like, I believe it's like a structure of poetry or hymn or
Iambic
something.
pentameter.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Nice. But this says trimeter.
Well, it's another.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so they all sing. Okay,
Sounds like church.
this is the best part. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Right?
I think that's where church came from.
That's what I'm saying.
It's from them.
Where'd they get that ritual? Let's all sing after the sermon.
Yeah, and get together once a week.
Trimeter is one type of meter used in poetry in which each line has 3 metrical feet.
Right.
Nice.
I don't know what that means, though.
This is my favorite, and quite frankly, I think this is the most mind-blowing of all of it.
Oh, let's go.
So this was in The Wars of the Jews 2 by Flavius Josephus. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Alex, you ready? Get your angel ears open. You ready?
I'm ready, bro.
They also take great pains in studying the writings of the ancients and choose out of them what is most for the advantage of their soul and body. And they inquire after such roots and medicinal stones as may cure their distempers.
Dude. See, the crystals.
They were using herbs and crystals to heal diseases and spiritual maladies.
And not only that, yes, that alone is incredible. And, but the thing that is so beautiful about that passage, you sent me that the other day, and I was
just a little tease.
It is such a warm sentiment, and it's so refreshing to know that true mystics thousands of years ago, with only the urge to understand the universe that they live in and nothing more, were wise enough to know that you can pull value from all wisdom traditions, from all religions, and you can leave the things that don't serve you.
That's what they do now. You know?
Mystics?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it's like.
That's what I'm saying.
They did it then. It's crazy.
Thousands of years ago.
Yeah. It's insane.
But it's so beautiful. I've said that on this show before.
Right.
Take the things that serve you and leave the things that don't. That is true spirituality. Hot take. You're hearing it here on Bledsoe Said So. That is spirituality. Spirituality isn't following one little thing and staying in that box. Well, I mean, I can't. That's a blanket statement. I don't want to.
Because some things are objectively true.
Keep going.
You're right.
Some things are objectively true.
But like, take the stuff.
But here's the point of that. They're using what actually works.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? They're not tied to a specific, here's our religion. No.
Like spiritual proof.
Exactly. This is the stuff that has worked since the time of the ancients.
Let's write it down and incorporate it.
Yeah.
And keep moving.
Exactly.
It's like spiritual flexibility.
Dude.
Well, dude, it's exactly what esoteric occult science is. It's exactly what the Rosicrucians. You start reading the text of the Rosicrucians. You start reading the modern, reformation of the Gnostic movement that has their own, I don't know what you call it, like programs where you can read the beliefs of Gnostics. They say it plainly. They're like, we are pulling from the Persians, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Romans, the Essenes. I read you the text. She's like, this is what we're pulling from. What we in modern times, we're learning from these traditions because meditation works, chakras are real, crystals are real. Okay, so the Persians had this star system. We like that. They're taking these ancient traditions that have real evidence of working, and they're synthesizing it into this mystical practice. You know what I mean? It's the opposite of religion.
It is, man.
It's just existing in truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because you throw around the word like spirituality, and there's so many different perceptions to that. But to me, that is true because you are doing anything necessary to understand the spirit.
Right.
You're grasping at everything that works, everything that makes sense, everything that clicks. Leave everything that doesn't work. You're focusing solely on spirit. That's spirituality.
Right.
That's beautiful, dude.
I'm not going to read all of the texts because I actually have a lot more that I've already read, but I'm going to get through the good ones.
Okay.
So I'm going to summarize their doctrine, but know that the next few things that I'm about to say, all of these come from either On the Contemplative Life by Philo of Alexandria, or they come from The War of the Jews 2 by Josephus, which again, these were both texts that were written thousands of years ago. And there's even more texts that write about them by Josephus Philo, and Pliny the Elder. I'm not even sure if I'm reading much more from Pliny the Elder. They fasted during the day. They only ate at night because they believed that to eat during the light of the day when the sun is present, which is supposed to be symbolic of God, the Great Spirit, they didn't want to feed their body because they were so extreme about only existing in the spirit. They were trying to be as close to spirit as possible. So they would fast during the day. They wouldn't speak before sunrise. They didn't want to waste their breath and their mental capacities talking about random mundane things before the sun was up. They would only eat at night. A lot of them were so extreme that they would fast for 3 days, or the really extreme ones would fast for 6 days and only ever eat on the Sabbath. So
they 1 day a week.
Some of them, yeah. Not all of them. Wow. This is what they said. They were like the more extreme of them would only eat on the Sabbath, ever.
Wow.
And they I'm telling you, dude, like they completely rejected any notion or idea of like physical pleasure. Like, bro, most of them would only be eating like the most minutely salted bread.
Right.
Because they're like, I don't want
just whatever to
food.
Sustain.
Yeah.
Just keep your body alive. And
yeah. They were like that. They were so seriously focused on at every present moment trying to be connected with God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're simply eating to live.
Right.
They're not. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally the whole order. Again, most of them probably would be eating at night, but the more extreme.
Sure.
You ever think like what would happen if you went back in time and plucked one of these people out and took them to like a IMAX,
McDonald's?
No, like an IMAX movie theater, and or maybe that new Las Vegas Sphere.
Oh yeah.
Oh God,
dude.
They'd be like, they'd be freaking out.
Cracked in half.
Yeah.
Like just die on the spot.
Yeah, they would freak out.
Yeah.
They communally shared all of their possessions. They didn't receive like an income, any sort of labor they did that had any sort of money or any sort of payment or reward. They immediately would bring it to the order, and the order had like a public inventory of all food, all possessions, all money, and they shared it 100% freely between everybody.
That's amazing.
And they thrived. They actually were so ascetic, meaning they're like separated from society. They had communal agrarian style villages, and it was reported by these writers that their houses were so basic that it looked like they were thrown up in a rush. They had the coarsest, cheapest rugs. They only wore the plainest white garments, white clothes, white shoes, and it was a part of their doctrine that they would never even get a new robe until the one they were wearing was so dilapidated and worn down that it was breaking apart. Because they were so much like, no nice clothes, no nice shoes.
That stuff doesn't matter.
None of it matters. We reject it. They were like 100% literally away from society, outside of the major cities, in their own little contained monastic villages. It's like a commune. Honestly, it's a commune.
A commune where their express purpose is to try to live solely as a soul,
right?
Not a person.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
And it was reported too that they loved doing labor and giving all of their possessions and income to the commune.
Why wouldn't you? Because it's going to
brought them joy, and they were happy.
It's going to literally benefit you and everyone else around you to do that. Why wouldn't they? I mean, that's just beautiful.
That's interesting to me, though, because like I feel like a lot of people, the allure of that lifestyle for a lot of people is to not have to work. But then you put yourself in that place and you find that like humans naturally like to work.
Well, absolutely. I think, in my opinion, this is a little bit of a tangent. I think the reason people don't like to work today
is because they don't like their job.
Well, yeah, because they really don't get much of anything for doing it.
There's also no purpose to, it's like back then, we're talking ancient times. It's like, I'm the blacksmith.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the shipwright.
Right.
Now it's like, I work for some company.
Yeah.
9 to 5.
And they give me a little paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's it. But this work that these people were doing is making the whole commune survive.
Right.
It's benefiting every single person in that commune. If that was the sort of society, or if that's how I was living, I would love to work all the time because it's just benefiting everyone around you, and everyone is working together for each other.
Right.
That's beautiful.
It sounds pretty awesome.
It does.
They observed extreme ritual purity and chastity. So again, like the section that was not in Alexandria, Egypt, known as the Therapeutae, that's the Greek word, but they were Essenes. They were like another branch of Essenes. The ones that lived in Israel, they were celibate like their whole lives. It was only men, and they would do the cold water bathing every morning, and they had extreme honor and adoration for the elder initiates. And actually, the elder initiates were reported to be very lighthearted, very carefree, almost like children.
Oh.
They're so happy and and they would laugh, and they would just smile, and the old guys are just as funny as the young guys, and they were all like one. They all respected each other as one. But in their ceremonies on the Sabbath day, the elders would speak,
right,
because they had the most wisdom. So very cool there. Let me skip through. We don't need to read the text on that though, because it's very long. They aggressively shunned material desires and keep only plain possessions out of necessity for survival. And it says here from Philo on the contemplative life, and the order in which they sit down to meat is a divided one, the men sitting on the right hand and the women apart from them on the left. And in case anyone by chance suspects that cushions, if not very costly ones, still at all events of a tolerably soft substance, again, we're talking about their furniture's cheap, of a tolerably soft substance, are prepared for men who are well-born and bred.
Okay.
The healthy guys get the tolerably soft cushions, And contemplators of philosophy, he must know that they have nothing but rugs of the coarsest materials, cheap mats of the most ordinary kind of papyrus of the land, piled up on the ground and projecting a little near the elbow, so that the feasters may lean upon them, for they relax in a slight degree the Lacedaemonian rigor of life. And at all times and all places they practice a liberal, gentlemanlike kind of frugality, hating the allurements of pleasure with all their might.
Wow, that's
the coarsest, cheapest rugs. Yeah, the healthy young men, they get the tolerable cushion.
I love the fact that it says tolerable. It's tolerable. It's enough. Meaning that everything else is intolerable. Like everything else is terrible.
Oh, I read this from the earlier passage talking about like the ritual purity and chastity. And the women also share in this feast, the greater part of whom, though old, are virgins in respect of their purity, not indeed through necessity, as some of the priestesses among the Greeks are, who have been compelled to preserve their chastity more than they would have done of their own accord, but out of an admiration for and love of wisdom, with which they are desirous to pass their lives, on account of which they are indifferent to the pleasures of the body, desiring not a mortal but an immortal offspring, which the soul that is attached to God is alone able to produce by itself and from itself, the Father having sown it into rays of light, appreciable only by the intellect, by means of which it will be able to perceive the doctrines of wisdom. Bro, we're talking about doctrines of wisdom coming from immortal rays of light.
Yeah,
that sounds like theosophy.
Yeah,
or Rosicrucianism. Dude, it's like this was written 2,000 years ago. I keep saying that because it keeps blowing my mind.
This is written 2,000 years ago about a society that existed 5,000 years before that.
At least.
At least, because one of them also said thousands of ages.
Right.
Like, so who knows?
One of them said time immemorial.
Right.
The most ancient of all orders.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what is going on here? Like,
and the current secret societies and wisdom traditions are talking about the same stuff.
Exactly the same stuff, dude. No, they're talking about them.
These are the real OGs.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I really believe the Enoch stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to deny.
No, it is. When you get in there and you start doing some cross-referencing, it all lines up.
It makes sense.
It lines up exactly. That's why I'm like, just because it doesn't, there's not like physical proof, whatever. Just, come on, read between the lines, overlap. Like, that stuff happens.
It's crazy, bro. Like, we all seen Scooby-Doo.